little bit early today, but I'm already ready and sorted, so I figured I might as well go ahead and start. We got a few things to talk about before we get started with the tour, so that'll give folks time to get into the chat if they want to join us. Speaking of which, let me put out my tweet before I forget. I am really bad about remembering, so I got the right one on there. Okay, so first and foremost is we do have maintenance today. Now I noticed that they said on their announcement that it starts at 5 a.m. instead of 4 a.m. So I don't know if somebody's time has changed or what, but I'm just going to say it's at around the same time that it usually is. So it still says 1 p.m. CET time, so I don't know if that's something to worry about. Maybe somebody did a typo, or maybe it's always been 5 a.m. and I've just been saying 4 a.m. all this time. I don't know. But just be aware, I think it's supposed to last about an hour and a half today. So it's not too long, but again, if you're joining us live and you'd rather play than just watch me walk around, feel free to do that. We upload these videos to YouTube right after we stream, so you can always catch up with that later. Also, Poi will not be joining us again this week. They've had some doctor stuffs to take care of, and so she's getting rested up from all of that happy joy stuff. And of course, a reminder that we won't be streaming next week because I have an appointment with Dr. Evil, aka my dentist. So this will be a good way to get into going into next week. We'll do the tour, and hopefully it'll be enough to tide everybody over until we're back the following week after. I'm going to say we'll probably be splitting this up definitely into at least 2 sessions. So we will be doing a stream likely tomorrow to finish this community up. I came through here yesterday because I really wasn't familiar with this particular layout, and I wanted to kind of get an eye out as far as how the pathing went and how easily I might get lost. It seems to be pretty straightforward, but hoping that we'll be able to get through a good portion of it today. It's pretty detailed. There's a lot of custom building going on, and you'll understand why when you find out who's set it up and everything. But yeah, I think it'll probably be at least a 2-session thing. We'll get through as much as we can today before I have to hop off, and then we'll just finish up tomorrow. So just a heads up on that. I also need to mention, we did let you guys know that there is a Discord channel for housing enthusiasts called Homeowners Association. There's a link in the resources section for that Discord channel so that you can get hooked up with other builders that are active in the game. They are currently working on collecting lighting decor information. They have a new Google Doc set up. I have a link to that as well. It's just below the information for the Discord channel itself. It's right there in the resources section on the Twitch channel page. What they are collecting is all the information. It includes what items count as lighting decor, if they count against the lighting decor limit, if they actually shed light, what color it is, and all other sorts of information, like if they have like weird, I guess, reflections or something. So yeah, if you're looking for some information about the lighting decor and just what ones actually shed light, which ones don't, which ones you can get away with putting into your plot without counting against the decor limit, or specifically lighting, this is a document you definitely want to bookmark. And I assume you can contribute information if you have any of things that they haven't listed yet. But yeah, it's the Discord channel is hosted by Sisquinenamuk, I think I'm saying that right. I just call her Sisqui. Um, so if you can't figure out from the Google Doc who you get in contact with, then I'm sure you can just reach out to her directly. I think she uses that name both in the forums and on Twitter and stuff, so it should be good to go. But yeah, much kudos to those of you that are putting that together, putting all that extra effort in. Um, I just noticed I haven't gone through my links in the resources section to really weed out any non-working links, but I noticed that the Living in WildStar website is pretty much down. It was something I was anticipating like last year because the guy that started it kind of just put it by the wayside. He wasn't going to be able to maintain it, and nothing ever come of it as far as somebody taking it over for him. So yeah, that was a disappointment because that was probably one of the more comprehensive sites that we had that you could actually look at out of game and check out what furniture was available and such. But I think it was just too expansive to try and keep it up to date with all of the furniture coming out at the time. So yeah, it's kind of sad to see that site go down, but maybe someone will take up the mantle eventually. But the lighting resource, that's definitely a good one to get a hold of. Good morning, Bones, and TW, and anyone else that happens to be lurking around in the chat. Thank you guys for joining. So yeah, since we're already kind of through everything I wanted to get covered, we'll go ahead and just go over this particular community plot. I got in touch with Ani about it. This is Journey of the Elements. We are on Entity NA side. This is one of the honorable mentions from the community showdown, that competition that Carbine hosted last year. I got a little write-up here from Ani about it, saying that there are no bunkers or any prefab homes on these plots. They chose to do that to avoid or to beat time constraints because for those of you that recall, there wasn't a whole lot of forehand, warning that we were going to be having that expansive of a competition. Communities had just come out. I mean, we knew they were coming, but we didn't know they were going to actually host a competition with it right away. And for those of you that have been involved in housing know that it can take, literally months to years for some of our builders to get through uh, their building projects, depending on how detailed and how long it takes to collect items and execute what they have going on in their brain to actually putting it onto the plots. So to think that they expected people to come up with these communities under such short notice was really asking a lot. I know there was many builders that had plots that they had already created and they just modified them slightly, but others actually took the effort to build from scratch. But like this group, some opted to leave out the bunker house bits just to make sure that they got everything done in time. So God, my nose itches. Hopefully, as we progress and if they decide to do another showdown of some sort, hopefully they give us a bit better of a heads up on, when they're going to do it and how long we have. As I guarantee there probably would have been a great deal many more participants if we had had more time allotted. Anyway, so Ani said that due to the time constraints, they decided to leave out any of the interior. So it's just a completely exterior build. The builders for this particular community are Ani Red Lotus, Haiku Jarix, Chesley Daywalker, and Mesha Strasser. So it's 4 builders for the 5 plots. And she went on to say that Most of these plots are their alts, so you'll see name bits that sound familiar, but it won't be these actual names that I'm mentioning here. They focused, it's supposed to be, obviously it's Journey of the Elements, so you've got one that's dealing with earth, fire, water, and so on. Ani was responsible for the earth and water plots and most of the community areas, which is the surrounding bits in between. Those are the, I think you get an extra 5,000 or so decor allotment just for that particular area. The others were given the other bits. She took on so much because she's a faster builder. Doesn't mean that they didn't contribute as much. It's just that I think, again, due to the time constraints, it just worked out best for them in that way. But Ani said it was definitely a team effort, so good on them. They did say that it wasn't always easy to work together and I guess tie everything together like they wanted, but they managed, and so kudos on them. Again, I think Carvine brought the community system in with the thought that builders would be working a lot of co-ops, and that's not always easy. And I'm not just talking about maybe clashing ideas or work habits and stuff. You know, maybe people don't get along because somebody's using too much of the decor count of their allotment or something. I'm talking more like scheduling issues. I don't know how it works with the crate as far as the community goes, but I know like when I've done collab work with just individual plots, it was annoying that you had to have the person that owned the plot have to be around, so that if you wanted to put something into the crate, you had to give it to them first, then they put it in the crate, and then you could work with it by taking it out of the crate and actually place it and everything. And it was just a little bit of awkwardness that went on with this. So I can imagine it was probably just multiplied with the community effort. I will say that Ani mentions that there's clues along the way as far as how to go through each particular plot. They kind of, it's not fully linear. It's not like a straight path through each one. You can wander about, but they leave little clues, and you'll understand what I mean as we get started, as to where you need to go to reach the next stage or plot. There are element pumps siphoning out, I guess, energies for each element. We'll try to find those, and apparently there is a shrine on each of the plots as well, to give thanks to those particular elements that are being siphoned off or something. And then it all kind of culminates on the final plot. Now, usually when we do the tours, we start out at the bottom and we work around, but because this one has a particular path that you're given, it's going to be a little different. So not that that really means or matters. I just thought I'd mention it. Let's see. They wrote a bunch, so I'm trying to make sure I mention everything. Yeah, and there's a particular hidden spot that I got to find, and that's on the water plot. So remind me on the water plot that I got to find a four-armed statue or something. Apparently, it's easily overlooked by visitors. Pardon me, I've like been coughing and sneezing a lot this morning. So yeah. So let's get started. Again, this is Journey of the Elements on Entity NA, and we're just going to merge right in. You can see it's kind of like I don't know what part of the world this might seem like. Maybe I don't know. You can see they have a bit covering. I'm not sure what is actually covering this to get the, I don't know if there's supposed to be a landing pad here. I don't see any puffs of any color, so I'm not sure what's being used. But all of this is put in. These stones here, I think, are part of those upside down fence posts that have the rock on the bottom of them. If I'm not mistaken, that's the only kind of brownstones I can think of. And then, of course, you have the bunker houses here, lots of grasses and such. It also helps to kind of denote where the path is, that it hasn't been trampled on. This, of course, you can see the white puffs. That's the upside down snowy hills. You can see they've clearly given you a path to walk around, which I kind of appreciate. It keeps me from getting as lost as I probably will anyway. And straight away we go into a little mine thing, and I love how they've got this set up. You can see they're using the gray stones, and then they've got the fireworks boxes, and then those holograph projectors, the long ones, the ones that a lot of people like to use for their refrigerators or like their decontamination rooms and things like that. Using it as like little hover carts for the mining. And you're going to see these throughout with different bits, but they've got those crystals inside. I love the detail on this as far as like the beams supporting the stone. Man, I can't talk this morning. This part here, I think I don't have the sound on, or it's like really down really low, but I imagine it's pretty loud because I think these are the bottoms of the, what's it called? The treadmills. I think that's where this animation is coming from. So it looks like there's like water running up, but I guess it's supposed to be like a conveyor belt system for this. Uh, you don't actually move with it. It's just animated that way. But I think that's what that particular item. You can see there's hover part pieces for most of the tunneling. And then out we pop. Before we do that, notice the little sign. They've got a little billboard here showing that it's a hover part track. Now, to mention that, while I said that Ani was responsible for the Earth and the water plots, which this is the Earth one, the Odyssey of Earth. They did mention that Mesha was responsible for building the roller coaster track or the hoverboard track. Ani just took care of all of the scenery around it. Again, it was mostly Ani's work, but it was a collaborative effort with Mesh's input on the track itself. But I love the little sign. Again, it's using those projectors, the smaller ones, the holograph bits, to make it look like a hoverboard. It's I think it's a graded floor panel and then a travel poster, some 2x4s, the metal edged ones for the little check mark. And then of course 2x4s and those red moon lights. They don't actually give off any light that I'm aware of, but they look bright enough that it seems like they do. So typically I think the idea is that you mount up on your hoverboard and take the track, but we probably will want to just enjoy the view and talk about a lot of the building elements here, like the, what is it, the stalactites, or is it the mites that hang? One or the other. I think these are all glacier pieces, possibly icicles as well, but they look like the glacier spikes or whatever coming off the ceiling. You can see the track just winds all through here. part of the track down there, loops around, all through the stone and everything. A lot of work, and I assume Mesha put down the track first, and then Lonnie just had to figure out how to decide which parts had tunnels and which parts didn't, and how things were going to be put together. I don't think the idea is to do a lot of running around off of the track. But again, this is Odyssey of Earth, so it's going to be a lot of Earth references, like the drilling. You got the dirt animation coming out. Again, these are probably pretty loud. And I think these are sandbags or something popping out to make it look like it's piled up a little bit due to the fling off, or whatever you want to call it. Now, I don't know what part is this to get that gold look. I don't know if it's just some of the stones have been recolored a bit, or if there's actually a gold item that's been laid in. But I think it's supposed to be like they're mining different ores down here, so you have these little spots of gold and stuff. Because this here, I don't know if it's, again, what parts those are. It could be an actual gold item, and you're only seeing a part of it, like maybe the golden skull and stuff. But I think it's a nice job of kind of showing that there's like that particular element. So like this one's got it piled up inside with a drill bot, of course. Again, the pathing for most of them is pretty straightforward as far as which one you're supposed to go in and not. There's a giant oversized drill machine. I think this is, there's the FreeBot analyzer. I think that's the animated part. Then you've got it's either the Red Moon or the Protostar lamp. And then that's the Bell stove there with, I forget what these are called, but it's like some kind of drill machine. It's got some nice animation. And again, some more of those FreeBot analyzers down there. Just like two of those animated parts stuck on there. Now, I didn't figure out if I could get up close to this, so I'm going to have to see if I can get there to get a better look. But because yesterday I just stayed on the path itself, and I never did get a close look. But like, look at the scaffolding here, for where it's raised up. I love those details there. Here we have some skeleton bits, using it as part of like a little tunnel here. A little bit of water coming in. These are just the old waterfalls. Standard color that they come as, the kind of drabby gray. The skeletons, they come from the Arctera area. They just come as random drops from lots of different creatures, so they're pretty easy to get a hold of if you're looking to add those to your decor collection. And then you'll see this here, it's another tunnel, but it's got a little bit of water and some of the overgrowth, the mossy version, just to kind of add a little bit of mystery, as if you're not sure you can go through. Making it look like when they excavated the tunnel, they discovered all these weird little fossil things. Again, water elements. Sorry for the weird camera shifting. I'm trying to get some good shots. Not always easy. As you can see, these are those glacier pieces too. They've just been recolored, so they look like a different kind of stone. There's even some snow-covered bits there that's showing. Again, it kind of gives a clue that it's the glacier bits. Yeah. Here they're doing a little bit of explosive. The bright flashing, I think, is from the lightning strike that you can get from running the Z Pre-Invitational, the hover park races. It's the same one that you can get the burning track from. The sparks here, those are from the sparking wires, I believe, to make it look like the fuses from the dynamite here are actually, I guess, lit or whatever. But nice use of those particular. See, I think that's either a fire or whatever. But I like how people have found clever ways of implementing those lightning strikes and stuff in interesting ways beyond just a lightning strike kind of thing. This one's more crystals section of the mining. See if I can hop off here. I don't know what bits are being used for this particular drill machine. It looks like some of the Space Chase bits with some antennas and then the little claw arms as if it's collecting the crystals and sticking them in the box. Here's a bit of a close-up for the bracing or scaffolding or whatever it's called. It's just 2x4s, but nicely laid out. We've seen some of that with like the Outlook posts and stuff. Let's see, was it on this track? I think it was on this one. It has an almost Indiana Jones feel too, because of the little mining bit. We're gonna stop off here. Here's a little collection bit for the, again, it's using those treadmills as like little conveyors. These, I think, are the body analyzers. A lot of people like to use them for fridges, phone booths, elevator booths, or a lot of them just like the animation for these pipes here, and they'll just use them like as trim for their dance halls and such. These here, of course, are rain gutters. This here, I think, is one of the graded floor panels. It's just the back side of it to kind of make it look like a darkened exit. And I don't see a way of getting up high enough view. Ugh, almost. Maybe if I get here. My jumping is like the worst, so major apologies on that. Yeah, I haven't figured out a way to get up here. But you can see it's like hover park pieces and the detonators being used for the buttons and such. If I can, probably gonna fall to my death, but I don't know if I can. I don't think it's gonna. Yeah, that's not good. There's a spilled bucket down here. Some broken track as well. Sparking wires again to make it look like it's been broken off, and don't know what they're using for the hole here. I assume probably the cellar entrance. It's usually got a nice little deal there. Ugh. Okay, let me see if I can get back up. Part of the track. This is what you get for going off road here. Again, normally I think the idea is that you follow the track properly instead of hopping off of it. But I couldn't resist. I was trying to get to the inside there, but it doesn't look like there's a straight or easy path to it. I'm sure the builders probably know, but anyway, let me backtrack just a little bit, make sure we saw everything here. Again, I haven't figured out how to get like up there. Let's see. I am like the worst for this. See, like you can see it goes all the way up to the top. But I don't see an easy way to get up to it. So something to explore if you come to this place on your own at some point. Anyway, this part, let's see, I don't think I can get up here. My jumping is like the worst. It's embarrassing. I'm trying to, you know, like hit all the good spots and I can't. You can see how expansive it feels, even though it's really closed off. I mean, it's completely rocked in, blocked in with rock. Anyway, the track ends here. And of course, it has like the warning sign and the boards up and everything, but this is your path. And you can see how they've even went to the trouble of adding little footprints. And I honestly can't say what they're using for the footprints. I imagine it's some part of a bone or something from one of the skeletons, or maybe it's just the feet. Okay, it's the bottom of the feet of some mannequins, I guess. And I think that's probably why there's that little weird shadow. Because sometimes some of the elements that like have a shadow, it stays even though the item is turned differently. So that might be it. All I could think of there. And of course, it looks like they even went the trouble of adding like these giant bolts or nails or whatever to the boards. No idea what those are. It looks like cups or something. I'm not sure. But this is the path that you go in for the next bit. So we will be, yeah, it's, well, I think, again, the way Ani described it is each plot has like little clues as to like to guide you to the next part or an important part. And you'll see more of that as we go through, but I didn't really take a close look at this yesterday. I just saw the little, I just thought it was like little funny little tracks, but they really are feet. This part here, those are sandbags for like the dirt, and then this part here are the upside down barnacle weeds. The one that looks like chocolate, I use it for candies and stuff. But you can see, instead of the stone, it's become more dirt here. And just sandbags. You can tell mostly by the texture. We saw one use it for like their horse ranch. Oops, you see that? Fell right through. I don't know if I can get back up. Let me see. I forgot about this. I don't know if that was, you were meant to do that without continuing on, but I found this by accident yesterday as well, so leave it to me to get stuck. Yeah, I think it's like a little weird booby trap to make you think that you're supposed to, and it just pops you down. More of the little drill bits, and of course, then you come out into this part. See, you can see we're running along the side here. We were running around this part. This is where the cave bits and the uh, roller coaster or the mining track is. We just zigzag all through here, and now we're on the side. Here's that. This is what it looks like standard. I don't remember what it's called. Some kind of protostar machinery bit. I don't know if it's a drill or excavator or whatever it might be called. But it's the same thing that's being used for that big drill that was in the cavern earlier. They just put two of them together. Again, sandbags for all of this part. And then here, it's those drills that you see elsewhere, but it's like super sized, and they just show the drills, so it's like a lot of that dirt animation. Again, I imagine it's pretty loud, and they do have collision. You can't pass through them, so you do have to zigzag to avoid them. To be a great thing for someone that's doing like an Indiana Jones kind of deal where you have some obstacles to run through. Great for like a racetrack, or again obstacles kind of thing, because again you can't pass through them. You have to actually zigzag around. And then we have, again, we're still just running around the edges. This is the communal part of the plot. I think this is one of the siphons, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know what all pieces this is. This part here, the two-part animated, I think it's from the daily login reward. Don't remember the name. And this is, I think, a recolored technophage tube. It looks like two different colors though, so I don't know if it's a combo of two that's been recolored and they just placed it. But anyway, so we've come to the crystal cavern part. Some are the buoyant blue crystals and others are just the blue and purple crystal formations. I think this is the shrine, one of the shrines. Ani said there's one each of the siphon and one each of the shrine on every plot. So you see the offerings, even the little incense bit here. It's a combination of the purple rock arch, the sparking wire, and then a puff of smoke from the smoke decor pack. Notice the color shifting of the glaciers to make it look like different shades here, even the kind of gray poupon yellow mustard looking color. The buoyant blue crystals you see here with that animation, that's what a lot of folks like to use for either magical forests, for like will-o-wisps, or they'll do it for spooky forests to make it look like there's like little ghosty auras around some of the trees and such. There's also a fave for those that haven't partaken of the newer waterfalls and are wanting some kind of a poofy, gaseous, misty kind of effect for the base of their waterfalls where the water meets the pool at the bottom. This is a big fave. You just tuck it down enough and make it big enough that you don't see the crystal itself, you just see the animated part above. It works really well. This part here, I think it's the they call it the blue flares. They have a pretty strong white smoke. And then I think it's one of the spotlights that's causing that animated lighting to go back and forth. Makes for a good effect, certainly. Little camping spot for those that are traversing the path. Now we're coming into a little bit of a rock tunnel. I believe most of this is the purple rock arches. Again, I think there's a combination of smokes and such. I can see green and some white. I think it's a combo of a couple of different misty, smoky effects. And that brings us to our second plot right here, the visions of water. So we've gone from one element to the next. It's a good transition to both. And again, pretty straightforward as far as what path you're supposed to follow. Here, I think I kind of got turned around a little bit. So bear with me as we kind of explore. But first off, you got to look at the little statue here of the lady holding up the purple rock arch here. She's mostly, I think, just regular gray stones. It's a little crude. I mean, the shapes aren't like, super, but it's, you can tell what it is. It's a woman sitting here holding it up. That's one of her legs coming down to dip her toes in the water. Hey, Aurora, good morning. Glad you could join. And then one of her legs tucked under here. Now you can see this waterfall is different from the ones we saw in the Earth Cavern. These are the newer ones that has a really beautiful animation. It comes with all this little misty smoke a bit. And you can see a bit of the animation at the bottom. You can see a lot of play with water type bits. Obviously, that's what's going to be the big focus here. And I don't know what else. I think they have some of this blocked off on purpose so you don't get too far off track. Again, that's where we come in from the earth part. And you can see some structures and stuff here, like you're looking out to their own little space bit. This here, I think these are supposed to be those, like, I don't know if they're trying to make like some kind of their own shroom or if this is supposed to be like a creature or something. Some of these plants, like you can see the space sweet, comes from Far Side, but this one, it looks like a tentacle creature to me. There's like a tuft of grass on top. They're using some domes for the cone of it. Oops, I just kind of went down in there, didn't I? And then I think some of these are from that celestial root stuff. And I don't even know what plant this is. This is a different kind of plant, I think. I couldn't tell you because I don't know. Again, here it looks like water, so it looks like, it passed through it, but it's actually solid. I honestly don't know what they're using for this. I don't know if they put up a layer of glass and then lined a bunch of waterfalls or winding rivers there to give it that animated look, but it's a pretty nifty setup. These here that kind of look like peacock feathers, those are from, I think, the new, either it's the Alien pack or the one with the seashells and stuff. It's one or the other. Um, if it's the one with the seashells, it comes with some coral items and some other kind of, almost looks like mushrooms and stuff. But it's great for like those that are setting up either full-on underwater plots or are looking to make their own. Uh, Maybe that's just an item. I really don't know. It looks like something they put together though, because see, that's like two different domes together and twisted a little bit to give that stripy look. Anyway, what was I saying? The lost my train of thought there. uh, Dang, I don't know what I was talking about. Okay, I think this is the forearm lady that they said they didn't want me to miss. Another one of those like little weird statue thingies. Again, mostly gray stones. Kind of hard to get a good shot of her without doing it from a distance there. But again, it's crude looking, obviously, to make it look like it's been sculpted, but it's just lots and lots of pieces, lots and lots of stones. Some of them are the swirly stones, it looks like for the hands. And then you can see the little golden arrow telling you, hey, there's something over here. Yeah, there's some of those funky plants from the new decor pack. I don't know where this guy comes from. He's one of those new animated NPCs. Looks like the swamp monster. This, of course, is from the spring decor pack, I think, the rainbow. That's where those sparklies are coming from. The little stepping stones here, I think, are the bottoms of one of the tanks. Of course, you got the steam glider as well that comes with, I think it's part of the waterfall decor pack. So I think this is one of the shrines here. Maybe. Guess this is, what is that? Some kind of astrological thing, the planets. These here look like the Elden fountains. The little animated part here, I think that's one of the Macari chairs or stools or something. And then those daily reward bits. The planets seem to be mostly domes. They're sandwiched together, and like this one has got like a plate for the ring. The base of this, I'm not sure what this is. It looks like the coiled wire, but not. These are like those Draken. I call them pillows, but they're supposed to be shields, but they look poofy like a pillow. And then this here is part of the gear trophy. Uh, the posts for the planets, those are of course sparking wires. You can see that mostly from the spark that's being given off on the smaller planets. And I guess maybe this is the shrine. I don't know which one's which. Looks pretty nifty though. I think this is an oversized weeping fountain so that they just have the little statues up top. And then they've added in some waterfalls, and I think it's the spiked coffin, several of those for the tiers here. These plants here, I think it's called the infused habanero blooms. A lot of people like to use them for water features too. If you can get the water flow right and kind of tuck it in just right, it looks like moving water. Good for waterfalls and such, and especially cave kind of areas, I think. Um, these bits here, like this almost obsidian stone with the claws, I suspect those are uh, Arctera formations that have been recolored. That's my only guess for these really nifty looking spiking curving shapes. Either that or it's an item that, like an Ichthian item, I think they have a lot of like curviness as well with like spiky claws. But I suspect those are Arctera formations. They usually are like some kind of weird bluish white, and they've just been, I think they've been recolored, give them that really creepy, you can kind of see the shiny. Pretty confident that's what those are. But they look pretty gross and dark and deadly with the recoloring there. This is pretty disgusting. It's one of those strained gelatinous things. It's usually small, and people use it for like some food items and stuff. And so you don't really see the animation too much, but that's pretty out there. Nasty. These paths here that kind of have that stripy look, I believe that's the bottom side of the purple rock arches, if I remember correctly. I think it was Maddie that used that for one of their paths on the beach house or something, if I'm not mistaken. So again, purple rock arches, but it's the bottom. You get like two, like a large one and a small one. So they've had to use multiples to get this path all set up. Here's like the water buildings. So you've got like, it looks like domes, recolored domes here, recolored the fancy couches. They're usually like a really bright blue with gold, and it looks like they've turned pinky and purple. These bits here, the pink and the yellow, I think those are the bookcases. And then of course an oversized hookah for this little part here. This item, but it's just oversized, you just see the top part. Again, I'm pretty sure they've made these like shroomy bits. It's like, I think that's a spore tree. It's one of those items you get from Shade's Eve. And then they've added in like the strain, the marrow tubing, I think is what it's called. And then of course the hollow domes for the little toppers. There's a little table. It's benches, Dominion benches, been recolored. It looks like, I don't know if that's benches or, I'm not sure what this is. Maybe it's a headstone or something for the base. And then we got this nifty little watery feature. I mean, there's like winding rivers, there's waterfalls, gray stone for most of the wall work, I think. Notice there's wall work here, but they've got it nicely laid in, so it's like inset waterfalls. 2x4s, domes, and a gratuitous amount of color shifting throughout. I mean, you can see the different color grasses and stones and just all sorts of stuff on inside here. These bits on the floor, I'm honestly not sure what those are. It looks like a lot of items. Uh, I don't think it's the frozen water, but it could be. I think this is one of the desert plants or one of the newer underwater plants, and they've just put in waterfalls out of practically every little hole that shows up. The bottom part is, of course, winding rivers, multiples of those to get that nice smooth roundness here. That's where we came in, I think. Yeah. Okay, so I think over there we saw the shrine, and I think this is the siphon. So you can see the element is a different color now, the water. Okay, maybe this is the shrine because this looks like the other one from the other spot. Yeah. So again, watery elements. These are the water troughs. Look, even got that little bitty tiny waterfall coming out of the forehead there. Again, those animated bubbles, I think those are from oversized spore plants. So it's spouting out these little water bubbles. If I can get up close here. And I don't think it was intended that you get personal with this, but try and get up there so you can see. The sparkly, I suspect it's from the frozen skull. I think it has that, you see, like it looks like little snowflakes coming off of it, and that really bright sparkly bit. I think that's what that is. And then part of this is, I think, the upside down one of the taurine masks or something, and they've just tucked it into the stone here and dressed it up a little bit. Some kind of a water source, I guess. Glaciers for a lot of this part. Let me go back this way. Oops, I guess I was supposed to take the rock path. I just hopped right over. Here's another little doodad, a globe. Now these are the bottom sides of all those crystals we saw in the earth part. they're using the bottom side. It's the same thing I used for the flowers, I think, um, for one of the dresses I made. Just multiples of them layered in to make it look like continents on this globe here. And then there's a little compass, it looks like here. I think it's a dartboard, and then honestly don't know what those are. It looks familiar, but I'm not sure what it is. Yeah, my camera doesn't want to stay positioned right. But like that stripy look, that's what you get when you have two of the same thing and then you just offset one, and it gives you that weird uh, like texture. It's just, you can do that with the glass, like the curved glass. If you overlay directly one on top of the other and then shift one just a little bit, it'll give you that weird stripy. I get it with walls sometimes, but the curved parts usually show it up the best. I've done it for like my own version of beach balls and Christmas ornaments and stuff. Yeah, it could be swords. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Like maybe the handles of them. Yeah, I can kind of see the points right there. Hard to get the angle just right, but yeah, it's probably the handles of swords. Good call on that. These here, the base, I think it's the upside down. There's a flower vase. I think it's white usually, and it's got like a little flower arrangement. I think they just turned it upside down and put like two of them, and to make this little base for their globe. I think that's what that is. Honestly, I'm guessing on most of this this stuff. Now this I really love that they took the time to make the stone path. I think it's just the gray stone, and they just sized it and rotated it in places to make it look like this little cobble path. So like over here, got a little resting area. Again, I think, I don't know what's being used for this part, if it's just bowls, the edges of the bowls, or what, but I think this is the bottom side of those crystal formations because it's hollow looking. That's why a lot of people like to oversize the crystal formation and like top the plot with it, and makes it look like it's in a weird colored cavern. And so if you turn it over, it looks like a hollow, like crinkly thing, and I think that's what they're using here. It might have been what they're using for the bottom of that other place that I wasn't sure what that was. But you can see like some mossy overgrowth. It's upside down, so it looks like spiked up, but that's what it is. And then here's a little seating area as well. Again, heavy on the water bits, swirly stones. This here, uh, where you can see the data cube and stuff, that's just an oversized poster. The table itself, um, what I think this is this table upside down, and they've just got multiples of them, I think. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I don't know if maybe it's just multiple tables and it's not the legs, or it's the legs, one or the other. I suspect it's the legs because it doesn't have a whole lot of this animation. There's like maybe one or two regular tables, and then the other part is the legs, or maybe it's just looks different because the water is covering it. Yeah, I guess it's just the tops. So it's multiples of these laid in for that weird little flower pattern. But it's the lighting, this animation is hidden because of the waterfalls. You kind of peek under there, you can see it better. It's a lot brighter. And then again, the crystals or something here. That's that canopy plant that I think they were using for the weirdness of those mushroom critter thingies. And I don't forget what this column is called. I just call it the column. There's this one, and then I want to say this is maybe the Pell one. And then there's another one that's like a round column with bright blue. Big fave. Oh, my camera's just wigging out here. See this building structure a little better. It's got the domes on top, 2x4s, lots of stone. Just a lot of detail. Just backtracking just a little bit. These here, those are just the regular bowls with the waterfalls inset and then little bits of crystal to kind of help join them together. Our terraformation, that's what it typically looks like, and I think they've just recolored it for those black parts. And again, I think this is just offset, recolored domes, and they've just twisted it a little bit to make it look like it's striped. I like the fire hose or the water hose being used as the rope. That's smart use of that. Get a good last look of the water plot. I think the spiky bits are recolored hay patches or wheatgrass or whatever it's called. A fun way of making your own little shroomy plants is definitely interesting, unique to their plot. Yeah, they did a real good job of sticking with a color theme or color scheme to go with the theme of each plot, and did a really nice job. So if you continue on with the path, where are we at? We're doing pretty good on time as well. Again, reminder, there are no interiors for any of these plots. Again, due to the time constraints for the showdown competition that Carbine hosted last year, these particular builders opted to not have interiors. So there's no bunker houses, no prefab homes. They just built everything up top to make it a little I think it gave them confidence that they would finish in time. Because again, we weren't really given a expansive heads up about the competition, and to have to put 5 plots together into a cohesive grouping that I was just asking a lot, I think. So these are some of the animal NPCs. I forget what these things are called, like little grub things. Terminites, maybe. I think that's what these are, the terminite towers. And then they got their little nest here with the eggs. The nest itself, I think there's like a green little bush, but if you flip it over, it looks hollow. And I think that's what this is that they're using for the little nesting bit, if I remember right. Yeah, it's a little bit solid, so it's not like pass through like a normal grass bit. And that brings us to the next little communal area. It's not quite shocking when the coloring or the lighting changes, but like it's nifty how the transition just happens. go from the soft blue and just kind of misty, spacey, watery bit, and then suddenly you're bright sunshine and looks like tropical beach kind of thing. Again, the lightning strikes, if you're wanting that kind of animation, good for like not only lightning, but like if you're uh, looking for like weaponry, like you're trying to fire something, shoot something like a space fight or something. You can get those from the Z-Pre Invitational. It's a regularly occurring event. I don't think they do it like monthly per se, but it comes around every now and then. You can get that and the blazing trail or fire trail or something like a strip of fire. Uh, but you can see they're using several here. Again, Arctera formations that have been recolored for a lot of that spiky. It always reminds me of like Mount Crumpet. Why I use some of those for some of my winter plots. The water itself, I think, is a combination of winding rivers and the newer waterfalls. That's where you get these little splash effects. It's kind of like the water is slurping out. I think that's what that is. But if you go down into the water, you can see how clearly it's a little different underneath. Not actual water, obviously. Again, I think this is still some of the Arctera formations that have been recolored. Then you got some of the strain creatures. That's a frost spore, I think, that's pulsating there. Glacier piece here. This is the glacier piece as well. It's like one that kind of looks like a fan piece. They've made their own little fishies. Those are medical kits with bowls for the eyes and hover part pieces for the fins. And then they just recolored them. So there's like little schools of fish out here. Here's some over here as well. The shell here, that's part of that new decor set. And they just added a strain creature in to make it nice and globby gross. I don't know what item for this is, but it's another strain thing, I think. I think it's the same one that was kind of wiggling earlier, so yeah. I don't know what all of these items are. This one looks like it has no collision whatsoever. But I guess that's supposed to be like a little snail creature or something. And then here it was, yeah. They've got one of the shell decor, and then they've stuck one of the oh, what's it called, the ice blotch or whatever inside it to make it look like there's a critter inside that one. Over here we have a little raft, and it becomes part of the spirit of life. The raft itself is from the thorny logs. Again, you see they're catching some of those little medkit fishies. Whoops, ready camera. Let's see if I can get up there. Take a better look. using one of the NPCs to maneuver their little raft. But notice that they've added a little harness. It's just some of those hanging cables, and then they put a couple of Draken shelves and made it into like a little bench. So there's where we came out. A pretty stark difference as far as coloring and everything, but lovely stuff. Now, obviously, that's the upside down snowy hills that we're running on. You can see the white puffs, but it matches the ground below it, so it looks like sand, so sandy beaches. Another little raft here on the side. Again, just a very simple, they didn't go too elaborate. I've seen some others that have like little barrels underneath, but it's just the logs. Oops. This here, and I think it's the habanero blooms, and then these are the datascape windows. And you'll see these, I think this particular plot, I think there's several of these out and about. Again, a lot of these plants, like this bush here and this like nice green leafed one, I think a lot of those are from the new flower decor pack. Here we have a little tent structure. It's shelves, the Draken shelves again. They just stuck it on top. Little tables, 2x4s and 2x4 blocks, metal edged ones. Filleting the fishies. Got the discarded parts down here and then a nice fillet there. The detail folks go through. Like pumpkin stew. Again, I'm trying not to miss anything because some more of those nice little animal NPCs. I think, I forget what those are called, to be honest. Here you have the little moody guys. I think this would be where, yeah, I think around here is where the bunker house would be located if it actually had one. But again, none of these plots have an interior. Ravenok, that's it. I was going to say Girok, but that's the little bear thing, isn't it? I love just how they've been able to blend in all of the different plants. I mean, you saw some plants from far side. You got these like weird little tulip plants, and then just off to the side, you got the drooping gorge fruit. There's grasses and things you'd only find in the desert areas, but they still manage to use it elsewhere. So I really like that about this. Okay, so we're coming up on like the little village prime here. I'll probably be going back down just to make sure we don't miss anything below, but most of this is decking pieces. You've got the rope bridges. Um, you can see most of the railing is like the Oran fencing. The roofs of these huts or housing or whatever you want to call them, again, it's the same thing that's being used for uh, the rafts. It's looks like we missed something over here. I'll have to backtrack. The thorny logs. And then for like the curtains or the shutters or whatever you want to call them, it's those rolled tribal mats. These are the flat version, these are the rolled version. If you're wanting to stock up on those, just visit a Far Trader fab kit. I think it's the one that's almost like a little igloo thing or ice cave or something with the little bouncy lop. And she sells these and sandwiches and other things. They say that they're limited, but if you buy it and clear out the inventory of it, um, just wait a little bit, come back, and it'll be restocked. So you can constantly buy, buy, buy. Hey, Avi. Yeah, as TW says, there's rating going on. There's a lot of it you just have to kind of ask on the general chat channels. Um, there's some that organize elsewhere, but if you just ask in the general chat, I think you can hook up with groups that are going. Look at these stone seats. It's just the obsidian stone, and then they've inset an actual working chair in there to make it sittable. Same way with the table, just the obsidian bits. And then the main seat has the little added emblem at the top. For the sides, it's the Draken shelves again. These flowers here, those are from part of the spring decor pack. You can get that. There's vines and white picket fences. Yes, you can craft white picket fences, but the ones you craft are a little bit more shoddy. They're kind of like the wood is crooked and not crisp and straight and everything. But the ones you get from the spring decor pack, they're like perfect. Same way with the arch doorways and things like that. Notice that they made the urns into flower pots just by tacking in a little flower there. Let me backtrack a bit. I think I missed a part over here. Bounce around here. Because again, I don't want to miss anything. Oh, okay, so this was this is where you'd come in if you came into the Spirit of Life plot directly from its owner rather than the community entrance. What I saw. Because that's like some hedgework blocking it off there. Okay, so we're good. I didn't miss that much. Wow, can't jump over whatever this is. Again, I like the detail as far as like the supports underneath. A lot of people don't think about that kind of thing. Here's next little bit. I think this is like the little marketplace here. So you have these little different booths with supplies. It looks like moldy cheese. The recoloring is a little funky. Again, the color shifting really does make a difference for some of the items. Sometimes I don't even recognize what they are. For the little weapon racks here, again, thorny logs or simple sword rack there. Again, the color shifting used quite a bit here. I think those are all of those uh, weeping cups or something. It's typically a white flower, and I think they've just recolored them here and there to make them all the different, like a rainbow colors. There's like barracks of some sort. They're using the Chua hanging nets for hammocks, and then just have the rolled um, tribal mats, like the pillow. This plant here and this one, both from the spring decor pack. I think there's like 3 different ones. Little gazebo stage kind of thing, mostly topped with the overgrowth. The vine cable. Let me see. Which one are you talking about? Vine-like cable hanging from the trees. I'm trying to see. Some of this is oversized trees, so I'm not quite sure what you might be referring to. Are you talking about this? I think you're talking about this here. Honestly, I'm not sure about that. Trying to get a better shot. Camera doesn't want to zoom out very far. Almost, almost. Yeah, it does look like a vine of some kind, doesn't it? I don't know. It must be something relatively new because I've not seen that. It's very possible. Let me see. Isn't there a termite pack on the shop? Let me just look. Yeah, it's the termite vine. Well, there you go. Now, if you want it, you have to get and it comes with 4 short ones, so I imagine there's some longer ones. Yeah, 4 long ones and 4 short ones. There you go. See, TW is smart. That's why we have TW around, because I can't remember all that stuff. Again, I don't normally buy any of those packs. Once in a while, I might treat myself to 1 or 2, but it's been a long while, so I haven't gotten any of the new, like the shell pack, or I didn't even buy the spring pack, I don't think. But yeah, much appreciated, TW. Anyway, the rest of this is pillar pieces, and then of course the habanero blooms to kind of decorate the ends. Again, got those same tables that they used down below. The chairs, those are fun looking. It's stones with overgrowth. One is the overgrowth hanging like you would normally expect, and then the other one's upside down so that it looks like a chair back, for those that are looking for a either ocean underwater theme or leafy for like orange style. Definitely a unique take on chairs. I don't think I've seen that used in that way before. Famous space tacos. Again, just hard to get a good shot. You can just see how bright everything is and colorful, like a rainbow of color all throughout this particular plot. There's a good shot of the water. That's where we come in. That's the entrance to the, or exit from the previous plot. I think most of the oversized trees, I suspect, are the olive trees. It could be maybe what's it called? The massive umbrella tree. I think that's what they're using for most of the canopy effect here. Some are the mangroves. Obviously, this one's a mangrove here coming up. But I also think some of these oversized branches are from, like, I suspect like olive tree or something. Here's like a little gathering meeting place. Again, lots of thorny logs. And then the benches and thorny logs, not benches, the bookcases, to make them look like benches. This is all obsidian stone here, that back wall bit. Here's a little air garden. The dirt, again, I believe it's the sandbags. And then they've just got the trellises there. You can see all the different little rope bridges going from the different places. It does come out where you have these weird little bits poking through, but again, it's really tough to place some of the items. It's not like you can just clip it off or anything. You have to go with it. So. And then I think this is like their shaman, witch doctor, something or other, because it's like you got these little chairs here. These are those fence posts that I think are the stones for the earth plot that we went to. Um, and then they turned them upside down and used that. But here they're using it with the little spear spikes part of it, and then using the Draken shelves to make these little chairs. Again, those Draken shelves for part of the building here, thorny logs, the tribal mats. Yeah, it's like a little doctor's thing here. This is like a weird little troll version of a Chua with this the boy in blue crystal coming out of his head. The Chua itself, I think we found out last time when we visited Aurora's place, is part of the um, totem bits. I don't know if it was Red Moon inspired or what, but it's like several little totems, buoys and stuff. So look here, they used the sandbags for dirt elsewhere. Here they're using them as pillows. Again, color shifting, that works great for some items, but like for this one, it colors everything, not just the flowers, but the holder as well. So it's kind of a little weird. You don't get to pick and choose what parts of the item are color shifted. I think this is possibly the shrine, because it has a bit of an offering kind of thing. These are the tiki lamps, and they've just pushed it down so you don't see the base of the lamps, I think. And then this is the siphon. Again, the color is changed because of the element that they're siphoning off. Where are we? We're on the third one. How are we doing on time? I think we're doing all right. I think what we will do is we will go ahead and call it good for today, and then we'll finish up tomorrow with the final 2 bits. I will get us up to the top here. It looks so angry. Angry Chuo there. Arr. Here's a good shot of this Spirit of Life plot. You can see it's just bright and vibrant. It goes really well with the theme. It's jungly. Again, I think the concept of all the elements, they had to decide how they wanted to portray it. This one with the little sky village type of thing going on, like a beachside. I don't know if it's supposed to be strictly moody village or what, and we saw a lot of moody creatures, but yeah, a nice approach. I think it was a good representation. Oh. Anyway, so if you want to join us tomorrow, we will be back around the same time, and we'll just pick up right here where we left off, and finish up with the final 2 plots. And then, of course, just a reminder for those that won't be joining us tomorrow, we will be not streaming next week. Again, I have an appointment with my dentist, so I won't be available. I'm not looking forward to it, so I'm trying not to think about it, but yeah, just a heads up on that. But we'll pick up with the next community tour the following week. If you can't make it tomorrow, don't worry. Again, all of our videos or tours are uploaded to YouTube, so you can always catch them later at your leisure. So don't worry about that. And as soon as these are uploaded, I'll post links to those, or someone will. Poi sometimes does it for me, but we'll make sure and get the word out. Thank you again to all of you builders that have put together such amazing plots to inspire other builders to bigger and better things. You know, we maybe kind of take some of this for granted that we get to visit these places, but a lot of builders, you know, every builder has the choice of keeping it private or for friends and neighbors only. I appreciate those that are willing to open up their plots to the public so that we can visit all of these amazing creations. So thank you to the builders, and congrats on the honorable mention here. And to those that we've already toured, congrats to them as well. Again, we will be finishing going through the list. We still have quite a few on both regions to go through, so it may be a while before we get through them all, because it does take a little bit. But it's something to look forward to. And then once we get through those, we'll go back to our usual as I find completed communities that I haven't toured, I'll throw in one here and there. But I still want to visit individual plots as well. I still have kind of an ongoing list, but it's kind of messed up now, because before everybody was just individual plots. But now that a lot of them have joined communities, I'm having to make 2 different lists, one for communities and one for individual plots. So I'm going to have to go through it all again and kind of organize my list for the queue. But if you come across a plot that you're confident I haven't toured yet, feel free to go ahead and mention it, even if I might have already got it on my list. I'm always happy to take suggestions from those because I don't have as much time as I used to be able to sneak around and snoop out interesting plots for us to tour. I'm mostly going by ones I've already visited that I've got on my list, or those that are suggested to me by others. Um, so I appreciate those of you that put in the effort to pass along those names to me so that I can make sure that we don't miss out on those wonderful builds. Thank you guys for those of you that joined in the chat and that continue to spread the word about the channel. I don't actively advertise per se. I just tweet out here and there, and uh, it's mostly word of mouth. So I appreciate those of you that kind of spread the word on that. If you know of anyone else that is making housing videos or are doing house tours, I try to kind of share that information, if not on the uh, Twitch channel page that I have where the resources or other um, uh, tour places, because I know like Chef Noriak, he did some videos in the past. Ani and them used to do some tours. I don't know if they still do them or not. I haven't seen any word on that, but I know they did at least a couple. So I try to keep track of that. But if you know of someone that's doing some WildStar housing content of any kind, even if it's like a website that showcases uh, other places that they visited with pictures and stuff, feel free to drop a note. I do have some, but I haven't been in the game as far as paying attention to who's been doing what. I try to follow most people on Twitter that have a habit of posting housing screenshots and such. But I'm also open to hosting fellow streamers that stream WildStar in general. Uh, I hate getting a list of them and then like 5 days later they've stopped streaming WildStar. So I'm looking for folks that are planning to or are already streaming regularly in a continual fashion, not just I'm going to check out the game for a day kind of thing. I'm looking for those that are regularly doing it and are continuing to play so that we can kind of help promote each other. I'm not looking for hosting as a payback. If they decide not to host me, that's fine. But I'm willing to host others. I've got a couple. I think Jamstar is on there, or was at least, because I think he was streaming pretty regular. I think I removed Maximus because I think he moved on to other games. But if you know of anyone that you would like to see promoted that is regularly streaming WildStar, even if it has nothing to do with housing, feel free to send me a note with their information so that I can hook them up with hosting on my end. Because since I only stream once a week, it feels kind of bad to leave the channel empty. So if someone else is streaming on a day that I'm not, I'm happy to give them some little airtime via my channel. So yeah, if you know of any of kind of information like that, feel free to pass it on, and I will try to get everything set up good. In the meantime, good luck with your projects. For those of you that are able, I will see you guys tomorrow. Till then, have a good day. Bye-bye.